What is up there, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are in the garage and guess who's here? Here we have it, guys. So in today's episode we are working on brakes. That means brake rotors, brake pads, and doing a brake flush. I'll list all the parts that we've used in this video down in the description down below. Now we're working on M's GX460 today. We're not working on mine. Now I've done the exact same work on my GX, but I didn't document it. So I figured M is needing an upgrade on his GX460, so I'm going to go ahead and document this as part of the journey. So we are going to keep everything GX460 related in this channel. On M's GX460, he's already has some miles on there, and so adding on some 35s and some heavier gear now, he can definitely use a little more stopping power. So we are upgrading to the Ray Bestos S-Groove rotors, and we're also going to combine that with some OEM pads that are made from Akebono. M's GX460 is going to be in for some work, so I'm going to split this up into a 3-part series. We're going to work on his brake rotors and brakes. After that, we're also going to do a washer bottle relocation, since he is running 35s now, and we're also going to add a transmission cooler to his GX460. If you're looking to do a brake job by yourself, stick around. We're going to start on this brake job. We're going to go from start to finish step by step in this video right now. Alright, so obviously place the vehicle on jack stands, remove the tires so we can go ahead and work on the brakes. Followed by that, we're going to pop open the hood, find your brake master cylinder, remove the cab to relieve the pressure in the brake system. Alright, moving forward, wheels are off. In this step here, if you guys have wheel spacers, this is the time to remove them so you can transfer them over to the new brake rotors. If you don't have wheel spacers, you can skip this step altogether. Moving on to the back of the brake calipers, we're going to remove the brake caliper brackets. There should be two 17mm bolts holding onto that. After that, we're going to replace the brake pads from the caliper itself. After we loosen the 17mm bolts to the brake caliper brackets, moving on to the pins to the brake pads. The brake pad pins are essential. They help keep the brake pads in place. So once we're done removing the old ones and we put the new ones in, we have to make sure to put the pins back in their corrected locations. Alright, so the pins are removed. You can use either a flathead screwdriver, crowbar, whichever the case, or even pliers, and you can start pulling out and extracting the brake pads from the caliper. On to the next step. We are going to reuse the old brake pad and also a C-clamp to clamp on down the pistons. You have 4 of them. We're going to use that to clamp and squeeze the pistons back down to the caliper. This will allow us to put the new brake pads into its location. And remember, we removed the cap to the brake master cylinder. This is the reason why. All this pressure has to go somewhere, so relieving that pressure from the brake master cylinder only makes sense. Once all 4 pistons are fully closed in, we can then remove the brake caliper. Normally the brake rotor will just slip right out from the lugs, but it's not doing that for us today, so we have to bring in the dead blow to try to pop right out. And we're finding out that this is also not working. So I believe that the brake rotor might be seized onto the hub itself. So we're going to move on to using a different type of method to remove the rotor. Alright, so dead blow method didn't work. We're going to go ahead and get a 12mm bolt and we're going to press out the rotor from its location. Alright, so rotor comes off and take a look. We can see where the hub here has a lot of rust, and so more than likely the rotor itself was seized onto this hub here. And we're going to go ahead and get a wire brush and clean off this surface before we put the new rotor back in its place. We're working on the driver's side, but mind you, the passenger side will be the exact same thing. So what we're going to do here, we're going to basically mirror this on the passenger side. Before we assemble the new brake rotors onto the GX460, we're going to go ahead and spray brake clean on the new rotors, because all new rotors will come with this type of like oil-like wax coating. It just helps keeps the rotors from rusting. So we're going to go ahead and spray that off, clean the surface, and get that prep ready for installation. Hub has been wire brushed and cleaned, and we're slapping on the new brake rotors. We're lining up the brake caliper bracket back onto the hub itself, to the spindle, and then we're going to go ahead and place the two 17mm bolts back into place Once we get the bolts all tightened up, we're gonna go ahead and torque the bolts back down to 91 foot-pounds. Alright, so after we've torqued down those two 17mm bolts to the brake caliper brackets, we are now going to slide in the new brake pads into the caliper itself. And after that, we're going to place the brake pad pins back in their respective locations. Double checking our work, but we are pretty much done with the driver's side. Just remember guys, what we do on the driver's side, it's a repeat mirror on the passenger side. And now moving on to the rear brake job. First thing is first, we're going to go ahead and disengage the rear parking brake. The rear brakes are a little more tedious. You have the brake rotor itself, and within the brake rotor you also have a drum and also slide pins. And so they're a little more tedious to work with, but not impossible. We are going to start by removing the brake caliper, followed by the brake caliper brackets. And they all are using 17mm bolts. The bolts that are holding on the caliper into place, these are slide pin bolts. We are going to re-grease these later when we go back and put the caliper back in its place. All 4 bolts are out. You can just simply slide the whole entire caliper unit off from the rotor itself. Yep. Our new brake pads, they didn't come with any hardware, so we're going to reuse the existing ones that came off from the vehicle itself. Alright guys, so in this next step, it's going to take a little bit of some trial and error, but there's going to be a star wheel adjuster. And to gain access, you can use a flathead screwdriver to adjust this star to open and close the drum within the rotor itself. So when you adjust this to close, it'll give you enough room to wiggle out the rotor. After adjusting the star wheel, we were able to take off the rotor and inspect the surface and also inspect the brake drum. And if you look beneath here, this is where that star wheel adjuster sits.
You want to give me that light?
No, I'm good. Mating surface has been cleaned. Brake rotor has been cleaned with brake clean. We are ready to mount the new brake rotor back onto its place. Once we have this done, we're not done yet. We still have to go back and readjust that star wheel adjuster to make sure it's nice and tight once we put it back into its place, because it can't be loose, otherwise your parking brake will not work correctly. Same method here. I'm going to use the old brake pad and also a C-clamp to close back in the piston to the brake caliper. Once you have the rotor back on, we're going to go ahead and mount the brake caliper back in its position. Now we are going to torque these down to 79 foot-pounds for the caliper brackets here. And then once we get to the slide pins, we're going to torque those down to 25 foot-pounds. And don't forget, grease those slide pins. The thin layer. Once we've torqued down the caliper brackets, it's time to put back in the new brake pads. With this being M's GX460, I wanted him to work on his car, to be the one to work and wrench on his car, while I work behind the scenes documenting this. Now he was struggling here for a little bit. I stepped in, gave him a pointer or two to put the brake pads in so we can move on to the next step.
Son of a bitch. Double that.
Alright, so this next step, brake caliper is coming back on. The slide pins have already been greased, and we're going to torque these slide bolts to 25 foot-pounds. And remember, what we do on the driver's side, it's a basic mirror repeat on the passenger side. And once we're done with this and we torque these bolts back down, we are going to move on to doing a brake flush and bleeding the brake system. So moving on to flushing the brakes, we are going to use this vacuum brake bleeder. It is from a company called Four Uncles. It is not sponsored this time around. I bought this with my own money. I wanted to make things a little more efficient, so I bought this pneumatic vacuum pressure bleeder system. So we're going to go ahead and utilize this. We're going to go ahead and extract the fluid out from the master cylinder first before we start with the sequence. Now we are going to also utilize TechStream for this brake service because most of this stuff is electronic and we want to utilize this as more efficiently as we can. Using the pneumatic bleeder here, we're going to start with the brake master cylinder. We're going to suck all the old fluid and back into the container here using the air compressor to suck everything out. Okay, so we've drained the master cylinder. We're going to go ahead and prep the refilling bottle with DOT3 brake fluid. This kit was designed to be a one-person job. And so, there's two of us, but we don't have to worry about going back and refilling the brake master cylinder every single time when we bleed the system. So as part of our tools, we are going to use this 10mm flare nut wrench. This is going to be a tool we're going to use to open and bleed the brake bleeding bolt. We're going to remove the cap and we're going to get started with the brake bleeding sequence using TechStream. To start the brake bleeding process, we're going to go ahead and turn the vehicle back on. Follow along because we are going to use TechStream step by step. So you don't want to miss out on this.
So you open up TechStream. Under all ECUs, we're looking at ABS here. That's what we're trying to do. Select it. Move forward. And then we have all our options here. We're looking for air bleeding. So select that. Just needs to bleed air from the brake system. Move forward. Select the line you would like to bleed.
Lines are open.
Alright, hitting next.
Right.
Performing the following operations: open bleeder plug, press next, and wait for timer. Okay, I hit next, and now it's at the next menu.
Okay.
So it's giving me the instructions to open the bleeder plug. I'm gonna press next, and I'm gonna wait for the timer. Do not depress the brake pedal. Okay, I'm hitting next. It's going. 3, 2, 1. Okay, perform the following operations: close the bleeder plug, press next, and wait for timer. So close it.
Okay, close.
Okay, I'm going to hit next, and it's going to take 20 seconds. So now it's counting down. It says resting, 13 seconds, 10 seconds, 4 seconds. Air bleeding is complete. Press next to select another line, or press exit to exit this function. So right, left, or rear left. Okay. Open the bleeder plug. That's already done, right?
Yep.
Pressing next. It's going to be 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Close the bleeder plug.
Close.
Hitting next, it'll be 20 seconds. Counting down, 18, 3, complete.
Cool.
All right, press and hold the brake pedal. Good. I'm pressing next. 3, 2, 1. Okay, release the brake pedal.
Oh, interesting.
Air bleeding is complete. Press next. Okay. Front left. Yep. Then go next. Yep.
What is it doing?
So perform the following operations: press and hold the brake pedal. So go ahead. Okay, I'm pressing next. 3, 2, 1, 0. Release the brake pedal. Okay. We're done. So go ahead and exit.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a wrap for this brake job. flush is also done as well using TechStream. So a quick reminder guys, this is gonna be a 3-part series. So if you guys are looking to do the exact same things we're working on for this series, it's simple and free. Follow the channel, hit that notification bell when I drop the next video, and you guys know what to do. Hit that like button, it helps the channel out tremendously, and comment down below. And I'll see you guys on the next adventure or the next upgrade. Peace out guys.